I've got to do something about my grass. If I'm not careful, my lawn is going to turn into a meadow. And after we've done that, I thought we'd have a look at the principles of rotary flight, because I'm quite into that sort of thing, and I don't feel like I've done anything that relates to flying stuff for a while. I like things that fly. Just grab a battery for it. Have I already mentioned one of the things that I like most about electric mowers? Ready to go. Okay, mental note to self, don't let the grass get that long again. Righty, what were we going to talk about? Oh yes, that's right, rotary flight. I've got something in here that can help us with that. All remember those early videos where they had a sort of really weird looking contraption made out of balsa wood and string, and a bunch of little rotor blades all pointing upwards, and they'd sort of go on the ground and then boom. The problem that they all had to overcome, which for the most part they didn't realise they had to overcome, at least not at the beginning, is something called dissymmetry of lift. And what that basically is that a rotor blade, any rotor blade, always generates a slightly different amount of lift at different points, as the blades go round. And then after a little while, some bright spark had the idea to try and take control of this dissymmetry of lift and use it to steer the aircraft. And that was basically the start of what we call helicopters. About the only real difference between this and a full-size helicopter is on the back here. You see that there? That is a gyro, and what that gyro does is it just senses when it's yawing like that and increases or decreases the tail rotor pitch automatically, which is a good thing, because it'd be nigh on impossible to fly them otherwise. You'd need far more skill than I've got, that's for sure. So let's have a look at how they actually control this dissymmetry of lift. Right, what you've got is something called a swash plate, and that is this little thing round there. And what that is that's a plate which, as you want to tilt the rotor plane one direction or the next, what it does is it adjusts all these little arms so that at that point in the rotation the rotor blade tilts one way or the other. And as they go round like that, constantly having their pitch adjusted, that's what creates that dissymmetry of lift and tilts the rotor plane, letting the helicopter go off in one direction or the other. Now, because this helicopter is only very small, and there's a limit to what human beings can compensate for, it also has this little stabilizing flybar, and all that does is just automatically, basically works like a gyro. So there you go. That's the basics of how a helicopter works. Now, quadcopters work a little bit differently. They've got 4 blades pointing straight up, but they don't have any pitch control on those blades, so instead they just adjust the speed of each motor. A quadcopter is basically more like a flying robot, because you have to tell it where you want it to go and then it will go there. If something happened to the main control board and it stopped working, you just wouldn't have an aircraft anymore. I'm not going to go into things like angle of attack on the blades, because I think that's probably a little bit overkill for this particular vlog post, but I just wanted to show everyone sort of roughly how rotary flight works, if you don't already know, because it is fascinating, and vertical flight is really starting to take off. Sorry about the pun. As the technology to control aircraft improves, I think what you're going to find is that more and more things acquire the ability to fly. I'll talk to you about my theories on flying cars in a future episode. Right, it's a bit windy, and I unfortunately don't have the time or space in my garden to fly something as unstable as that, so unfortunately I'm not going to get to fly it on this particular occasion. So if you fancy a challenge, flying a remote control helicopter is extremely good fun, and these things are beautiful. Actually quite gutted I can't get the thing in the air. I probably could do. I hope you've all enjoyed today's vlog. If you have, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the next episode of my daily vlog. Bye! You know what I've forgotten to do? Our bathroom's leaking, so